Welcome everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. This is Jen Green. I am from Property House. I'm actually really looking forward to this live today. And, I've been posting some articles over the last few days just about kind of what's going on, with the current mortgage payments, crisis, pandemic, however you want to call it. I tend not to be an alarmist type of a person. I always think there is a way out. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. If you do have questions or comments, I am able to see them. Please post them. I'm happy to see all of you here. I'm looking forward to getting started here. But just for those folks who don't know me, again, my name is Jen Green, and I'm from Property House. We are a locally owned business here in the Twin Cities Metro in Minnesota. We help out folks who need to sell their homes quickly, or if they're looking for cash or looking for terms to sell their homes, and we're able to help out in any way we can. We always come up with 3 different options, sometimes more, of how we can make our prices work for you and how we can, more or less kind of create a win-win for everybody. Good morning, Celie. Nice to see you. So, all right. So I do have a lot of notes that I'm going to be referring to. I did that on purpose just because I wanted to make sure, since there's a lot of numbers and different facts and things like that. So my apologies if I am not looking directly at you guys. And like I said, I do have the questions piece open and I can see it. So if there is something that comes up while I'm talking, please feel free to ask. My intern, Gabby, is actually going to be posting some articles and links for you guys as we go through this. That is some good help and will give some people direction if you're not able to gather all of it in the next 20 minutes or so. So she'll be posting that. So to begin, I know that article I posted, and it's been, written in many different ways on many different, sites and news sources. But, 32% of people miss their payments in July. And so what does that mean, right? Well, about 9% or so of people right now are in forbearance. So those people are not included in that number. And so the 32% of people that missed, it's either they missed a full payment or were only able to do a partial payment. And so the numbers on that, I was going to say in June, it was 30% of people that missed and 31% in May. So it's continued to go up. 19% of those people made no payment, like I said, and then 13% paid a portion. So the other numbers, though, back in those other months, usually about 90% of the people in May and June were able to then catch up on those payments. We're obviously not going to know their numbers for July right now. So again, hence, that's why I said this isn't an alarmist thing, but it's something to keep in mind that number still went up. So something to think about. The thing is that it's mostly renters. About 36% of renters were not able to make their payments. So think about what that means then for landlords on the other side of that. And the thing is that the majority of the people who miss their payments are young people or people of color, based upon where where people are working. And so that's what the numbers are providing. And so Minnesota, though, right now, I'm going to be a little Minnesota specific since this is where I am. There is a peacetime emergency in effect, and according to our Governor Walz, as long as that peacetime emergency is in effect, a foreclosure cannot be issued for somebody, and it just got extended to August 12th. It keeps getting, extended month by month. It was first, in March, and then each month now it has been extended. So now August 12th. So that means that nobody can be evicted until the August 12th date, and then 30 days after that. They have to be given 30 days. So do keep that in mind. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more. Do also keep in mind nothing has been put in place yet to keep the $600 a month unemployment going after July 31st. Or excuse me, $600 a week, my bad. That is something that has not been put in place yet either. So as of right now, everything for that, the extra $600 a week in the stimulus, should be ending after July 31st. Again, don't know if that'll be extended or not, if they'll, something that will come, be pushed through. I don't know, but do keep that in mind. I will say here in Minnesota, there are still foreclosures, not necessarily new ones, but they keep getting postponed. So, I mean, if you were already in foreclosure before this happened, or, haven't asked for relief yet, they obviously can't, do a new foreclosure, but any of those other foreclosures, they just keep getting postponed. I was just taking a look at them the other day, and, there's like 3 or 4 postponements on some of them. I this is kind of a side note for those folks that are in that position. This is something that we help out with. We help create a plan so that you avoid that foreclosure. In fact, it's one of the specialties that we have. I can tell you, my husband and I went through it in 2012. I'm very familiar with the process. Ours ended in short sale though. But something to keep in mind, like I said, even if you want to talk about a plan of what that looks like, my biggest thing is for people is to not push it off and say, oh, we'll be fine, because people tend to bury their head in the sand and think that everything's going to be okay, and we can help make it okay, right? We can come up with that plan. So do keep that in mind. That is something that we're able to help with. Gabby, if you could start posting some of our property house information, that would be really great. There's a lot of this information too that's provided on our website, which is www.propertyhousepartners.com. You can always take a look there. Okay, so I do want you guys to think about here's the other thing I was going to say too, is that I have been keeping in contact also with folks in the collections agencies to see how that is going for people, and they haven't been able to collect at all since about March. And actually today, being July 15th, today is the day where they're going to be able to start collecting again. Now, they're not going to be making calls to collect for all back payments. It's more or less partial payments. It's kind of like an easier call that they're going to be doing. And so just know that collections agencies, if you are in collections for some type of bill, they are going to start calling you today. So please keep that in mind. But again, not forcing for full payment, because obviously they understand what's happening with COVID, but do keep in mind that it will be asking for some type of payment, and those calls will start coming again. As you can see, Gabby has started posting some of the help that I found, and I'm going to be talking about them a little bit too. But I do want to also talk about, as I was kind of talking about evictions and foreclosures, the one thing about the evictions right now is that there is a federal moratorium. This can get a little bit confusing. The federal moratorium is through August 31st. Now, this is only for federally backed loans, meaning those Fannie and Freddie, VA, all of those loans, that has been extended to August 31st. However, the private loans, there are some that have extensions. One of these pieces up here, I can't remember which one it is now that I'm looking. Oh, here it is. The first one that she did, the NCLC, the National Consumer, that one, that is going to have information on there for you state by state. That's going to tell you exactly what's happening in your state in terms of evictions, foreclosures, all of that. So you literally just click on your state and it's going to be able to get you that information. So please be sure to check that out. I will say that 43% of the new mortgages that have been done are now federally backed. And so a good chance for you that perhaps you are in that, forbearance, but it doesn't mean that you're automatically entered into it. All right. It's still really important for you to keep in mind that you still have to call your lender. Okay. You don't automatically get put into it. So please know that you always have to call your lender and say what is going on. It's not hard to be approved for this. You don't have to provide hardship. You can say it's COVID that's happening, which obviously we know for 99% of the people it is. So please call your lender, get into the forbearance program if that's something that works for you. You can be in forbearance up to 12 months. Even if you make your payments, all right, you still can be in that forbearance, and there are still quite a few people. I think about 22% of people are still making their payments, even though they are in forbearance. If you're able to do that, I suggest you do. If you really, truly cannot do it, then yes, obviously take the forbearance into mind. There are different options. It's not going to be one lump sum anymore. And that's, again, for federally backed loans. I don't know what the private is doing. That's something that you're going to have to call on. But you can either, when you refinance your house, it can be added into there. And a lot of the times if people are in forbearance, you're not going to be able to refi right now. So do keep that in mind. But down the road, when you refi, that can be wrapped into your refi. It can be done and tacked on at the end of your mortgage, or you can also do it when you sell your home. So do know you don't have to pay the lump sum, again, with those federally backed loans, but also please make sure that if it is, make sure that you can, confirm that with them when you call. I wouldn't just, I'd want everything in writing. That's how I kind of am too. So make sure you have all of that information, all right? The tenants now, all right? Going kind of back to that piece of it with tenant landlord stuff, I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more. On those privately backed mortgages for tenants, the evictions are going to vary from state to state. So even though there is some of those evictions that have been put in place, if you have a privately backed mortgage, now again, with the governor pushing for us, right, pushing it to August 12th, I'm pretty sure that they're not able to do any kind of evictions. There are different ways of doing evictions, but it's pushed till that date, but private loans are going to have, you know, a different stipulation for that. So the thing too is, if, let's just say, and I know I kind of keep skipping around, and I apologize for that. There's just a lot of info that I want to get through to you guys. But you can always watch this over again. And like I said, a lot of these things that Gabby's posting here on the side, they're going to have a lot of this information that I'm talking about, and you can go through it in your own time. We're also going to be posting these resources on our website, in our blog area, and then also I'm going to be doing some short videos also on our YouTube. So if you could subscribe to our YouTube, that would be really great. It's Property House Partners. You can take a look at that, and I'll be doing some short answers on there as well, so we don't have to thumb through, you know, all of these Facebook Lives sometimes, because they can be long. All right, so if you are already having trouble making your payments, right, and you were, let's say, in foreclosure already, or in pre-foreclosure, excuse me, in Minnesota, all right, this is going to be Minnesota specific. If you are living in your home and you are already missing payments before, again, all of those foreclosures are going to be pushed off. They're not going to go away. There will still be a postponement. You can be in your home, but it's still going to be imperative for you to come up with some kind of plan, whether it's you selling your home, if you can, if you have enough equity and it makes sense. The market right now for people selling their homes for houses that are all fixed up and completely ready to go is good. It's very good. However, people who still need, you know, fixing to homes, that's going to be tough. Also, if you're not comfortable with having people in your homes, you know, because of COVID, that's another thing. Restrictions are getting a little bit tighter again. Where I live in Minnetonka, I know it's going to be required face masks coming in July. So, and I know Minneapolis still has required face masks. So do please think about that in terms of selling. If there's also, you know, there's lots of different options. Short sale is one. That's typically where we end up helping folks. So do, like I said, please keep those things in mind. Those things are still happening behind the scenes. We're able to still work for you on your behalf and make sure that you don't lose your home to foreclosure. So like I said, though, the evictions are postponed through August 12th for if you're living in your home during the redemption period. All right. So they're not able to push you out, even if your 6-month term limit comes to time during this peacetime emergency. It's still going to be pushed forward. Okay. So do be aware of that. And then obviously protected in evictions, you know, through August 31st. If you have a federally backed loan in Minnesota, it's at least August 12th. The other thing I was going to say too is for landlords, all right, I know this was something, and somebody had posted something when we were talking to, and I don't want to go over our time, but the thing to think about is, you know, a lot of people, there hasn't been a ton of help in terms of landlord relief, right? Like we know there's a lot of help for renters and for homeowners, but for folks who own investment properties, it's been pretty bleak. And so I have a really good, it's from Real Wealth, the Real Wealth Network. And then Gabby, if you could post that one, I don't know if you did or not, but that's another one. I sent that to you this morning. But this is really good for landlord relief, and it gives really good information on that. And so any multifamily that's backed by a federal agency has agreed to some form of forbearance. All right. So if it's a Fannie or Freddie, there is some type of forbearance. From what I saw, it was up to 120 days. The lenders have agreed to payment deferrals, but again, it's only going to postpone the foreclosure, you know, when the relief arrives. So there is no forbearance on property taxes, penalties, fees, liens. So know that this could obviously be a really big problem. And then what it looks like, and this is kind of what happened in 08, is that, you know, big corporations came out and bought out the small businesses when it came to landlording. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. You know, but again, like I said, there hasn't really been anything more or less that's been put into place. However, like I said, those multifamily homes that are backed by federal agencies have agreed to that. Now, in terms of single family homes, investment properties, I would assume that those would still apply. You know, the other rules that would apply. Don't quote me on that. I wasn't able to check into that before this today, but I would be sure to just, like I said, always call your lender and see what you can do. Now, a couple things that that landlords can do to, help in this situation, since there isn't really like that federal relief that, single family homeowners have. So you can apply for an EIDL. Those loans are still available. And that's the best option really for a lot of landlords. I actually have done the loan myself. It's not a hard process to go through. And it can take a little while to be approved. Now, I applied for it back in March, right when it was available, and my approval didn't come through until May. I don't think there's as many people applying right now, so do keep that in mind. But that would probably be the best option for landlords. There's also an SBA Express bridge loan. That's up to $25,000. That can usually be that can be a payback for you if you end up getting your EIDL. You can use that to pay back your EIDL, your SBA loan, and so that's really nice. That's up to $25,000. And then also there is some SBA debt relief, which is that if you already have a loan from them and you have that relationship, you can get auto payments for about 6 months. That's going to cover, it's more or less like a micro loan. And so and if you do that from now, if you had it previously or up until September 20th of 2020, they'll receive that debt relief. There'll be some terms on it, but you are able to have that debt relief. If you don't have any other kind of options, another thing would do, like I said, is apply for that forbearance or deferment if you have a Freddie or Fannie loan. There are some privately held banks, Bank of America, Ally Bank, and BBT. They're giving 120-day forbearances. If that's not your lender, call. I mean, the best thing you can always do is call. The call the call times and the call wait times are not as bad as they were before. But do keep that in mind. Obviously, set aside some time to call your lender. 2, if you have equity in your property, do a HELOC if you can, which is a home equity line of credit. That's taking the equity out and using it, on your property to make your payments. Are these the best options? No, of course not. But again, desperate times, right? And so if this is something that you can do and you have enough equity and able to take out a HELOC, do it. All right. Or you can do a cash out refi. That's another option that you can do if you are kind of up on your payments. But do know if you go into forbearance, you are not going to be able to do that. So keep that in mind. Choose one or the other. The other thing you can do is, ask tenants for partial payments, right? Like if they've lost, like for an example, if they've lost 20% of their income, maybe perhaps, lower your rent 20% to have it make sense for them. At least at that point, you can maybe get some partial payments versus nothing. And again, if there is nothing coming in, there's obviously those other options. And then one of the things I thought was kind of interesting on the Real Wealth Network was that they said to rent out unused space on the property. Like if there is a storage shed or something like that and it's not being used, use it as a place to rent out to get some extra income. There's a lot of other ideas that are on that website too. They're pretty awesome. I really appreciated them. And so there's going to be a link to that on here too. So I know that was a lot of information to go through, and I apologize if it was fast, but I always like to keep, my lives to about 20 or 25 minutes. So again, I just want to kind of cap, what we talked about, that there are a lot of websites here that Gabby posted here on the side. Take your time, go through them. They have a lot of really good information. If you're in the States, it's going to give you all 50 states of what's happening with, the mortgage freeze, the moratoriums, evictions, foreclosures. All of that stuff is going to be listed on these websites. If you're in Minnesota and you're struggling and you don't know, please call us. We are here to help you. We are here to create a plan for you that's going to work and that is not going to end in, either maybe eviction or foreclosure, right? We specialize in foreclosures and helping people out of these situations. If you take a look on our website too, you'll also see a lot of our testimonials are from those folks of where, we help them out of foreclosure. So please keep that in mind. The other thing I was going to say is that I'm always posting and writing some blog articles that are on our website, which, again, is propertyhousepartners.com. And then on our blog, it's on there. And then also our video library. It has all of our videos that we've been doing on our Facebook Live too. And so you can always take a look at it. And then on YouTube, a lot of these videos are on there as well. And a lot more short answers to some of the questions that are posted. Like I said, we don't have to thumb through this. Please subscribe to our channel. It'll help us and put us on the map for this of being able to help people. I appreciate you guys doing that. So, all right, that is what I have for today. Again, like I said, this is not meant to be alarmist at all. I think there's always a way out of these things. It's just a matter of talking about it and asking people for help and calling your lender. And if you really don't know what to do, like I said, call us. The way to reach us is 612-234-2476. If you're out of state and you don't really know where to turn to, you can call us too. We have connections with people all over the country that we trust and, you know, do business with, and that I would in a heartbeat send you guys to. So if that's the case and you don't know where to turn, call us also. We're able to help you. All right. So thanks you guys so much for joining me. If there are any questions that come up, if you watch this at a later time, post them here in the comments. I am here to help. My team is here to help during this very trying and weird time that we have, and nobody really knows what's going to kind of happen tomorrow. So we'll always be keeping you guys up to date. This is obviously our week 3 where it's, you know, the housing and customer updates. Next week, week 4, is where we talk about business, entrepreneurship, real estate. So tune in next week for that. We'll be posting, you know, what we'll be talking about on that very shortly. I thank you guys for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Everybody have a great week. And again, any questions, also you can email us, hello@propertyhousepartners.com. We will get back to you as quickly as we can. Or like I said, if you prefer talking on the phone, you can always give us a call, 612-234-2476. Thanks, you guys. Have a good one.